Hey, I've been vibe coding a whole lot more, both for work and for pleasure. I've noticed some changes in myself, in how I approach a project for a hobby now. I'm just not convinced that all of the changes are good, and I'm a little bit worried. So, my process used to be that I would pick a thing that I wanted to do. Maybe it was launch some sort of interactive website. I would have to learn a new programming language. Perhaps I actually had to learn TypeScript. I would dive in, I would Stack Overflow my way to learning enough of the language to get maybe a basic React site going. I would learn individually how to make the components that I wanted, right? Individually, each new problem that I would encounter, I would have to tackle that problem. So I want my web app to have a real-time front end for maybe some sort of chat interface or something. And I'm learning about WebSockets, and all of a sudden WebSockets are a brand new thing I have to learn about. I got to figure out, okay, why is my front end not talking to my back end anymore? This is a common thing that I'm sure many other people are resonating with right now. And you would overcome each thing. After that, you'd be like, okay, next thing. I've figured out a solution, and you would approach the next problem and wrangle it however you have to until eventually either you know enough of the language to finish the project you're working on, and maybe this becomes your programming language of choice, or you bail out and you give up. Maybe this is not your programming language of choice. Maybe this is not your framework of choice. Maybe it just isn't your project of choice. So you pull the ripcord and you're out, and eventually try something else. And if you browse my GitHub profile, you'll see that I have a bazillion repositories of little projects that started like that, just tons of stuff. What I've noticed, especially with vibe coding, the advent of AI that actually is somewhat reliable. Let's talk about the journey of AI and vibe coding. 6 months ago, even maybe more than that, a year ago, you would be happy if it could write anything that worked. So you would say, design me a blog, and it would attempt to do most of that in some fashion. And then usually they'd find some spectacular way to fail and not be able to finish even the most minimum viable product for you. And shortly after that, within months of chewing on like, how do I prompt it better and all that, it just started getting better. Once you learn how to prompt it better, it is sculpting and changing you now. It's conditioning you, right? I'm learning how to use it instead of learning how to actually do all the other things that I could have been doing instead of learning how to make AI do the thing, right? Now it's at the point where it can actually make like a real thing. It can make games, it can make scripts and actual projects and websites, and can make blog posts and movies, and it can all make all sorts of stuff. I'm not saying they're good, but it knows how to construct the beginning, middle, and end and put these things together to get a somewhat working thing, right? When it comes to a game, it can make a game now. It can make all sorts of games if you give it enough framework or enough hand-holding, or if you just tell it to make a basic thing on its own, it will just steal somebody's source material and just make the thing for you. So it's good enough to do that now. That's dangerous because now my process has become, I open up Warp AI and I create a new folder, and then I start telling the AI the project I'd like to create. Aside from the fact that I'm not applying myself to learn the programming language, I'm also realizing that I'm not even really content with the results anymore. Like, I can tell it to make a thing, and if it makes a thing, I'm like, oh, cool, the machine made a thing. But instead of short-circuiting that process and creating a new project of my own from scratch, that, I find myself leaning back to wanting to just make the machine make a thing again to satisfy the dopamine hit of, oh, it made the thing. Yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know, just to get those thoughts out somehow. It's just, there's something about that has my hair on end a little bit. And this is aside from all of the ethical concerns that I have. There's a ton of ethical concerns I have about AI in the first place, the water usage and the power usage and the land footprint for the data centers and all this other stuff that doesn't even enter the equation when it comes to this is changing how I work. And I don't know if it's changing how I work in a good way, because it is removing some spark that used to be part of the creative process for me and is now the robot kickstarts me, but in a way where I don't have to. I'm not attached. I'm not nearly as attached to the thing that I'm creating anymore, because you don't have to nurture this thing nearly as much. You don't have to spend the hard work to get past the bumps in the road. The bumps in the road end up just being yelling at the AI to do a better job, which isn't nearly the same thing as actually like learning how to overcome a specific programming problem, or learning just how to write better if you're just trying to write like blog posts or scripts or articles or something, right? Like none of the AI work contributes to the other skills. And I think there's something about that. I definitely need to go and apply more of doing the thing in order to balance out the amount of stuff that I get the AI to do, because otherwise I'm just going to end up being like 90% getting the AI to do it. And then what am I doing? I'm not having fun anymore. So anyway, that's my thoughts.